The G7 finance ministers will meet later tonight to discuss the joint release of oil from global emergency reserves. The Iran war has sent oil prices soaring to the highest level since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. The financial pain will be felt beyond the petrol pump, with prices for everyday consumer items also expected to jump. Fiona Willan reports.
One can only take a look at the news and be very, very worried. We live at the mercy of energy that is being extracted far from homes.
Our problem is a problem of dislocation. It's a problem of logistics, and this is a serious problem.
In the Middle East, oil refineries are under attack and energy exports are stranded at sea. The impact of the war is starting to be felt in Australia.
So we've seen diesel increase in the last couple of days significantly. Diesel is really the lifeblood of the Australian trucking industry because we rely upon it so much.
This family-run company in Sydney owns about 50 trucks. Each month they make around 3,000 deliveries and spend around $150,000 on diesel.
So Simon, what sort of products would be in these containers?
These containers that you see all around here, you'd have foodstuffs, you'd have construction materials.
A significant spike in the price of crude oil will soon show up in the cost of anything that travels by truck.
Say for the month of April, you'll start to see prices rise because trucking companies won't be able to sustain absorbing those costs. Just about everything that comes to consumers comes to them via a truck. Once the prices for diesel goes up, you're going to see every consumer item, or almost every consumer item, go up in price.
The price of fuel is expected to rise further because tankers have stopped moving through a crucial shipping corridor in the Gulf due to safety concerns.
So Iran has basically suggested that they're going to set fire to any vessels that run through that region, and they've actually done that to a tanker already, and they've actually attacked some container ships recently as well. Basically, insurance companies have made their policies null and void, and all of a sudden the risk is on the shipping line. So they're not going to take that risk, and it'll take quite a while for that to recover.
About 20% of the world's oil and gas passes through the Strait of Hormuz between Iran, the United Arab Emirates and Oman. Donald Trump has promised to provide insurance to oil tankers travelling through the Gulf and potentially naval escorts.
Further action to reduce pressure on oil is imminent.
Cargo ships carrying other goods rely on the strait too.
Primarily, most of our imports we get from there is fuel and fertilisers.
Justin Everett owns a wheat, canola and barley farm near Albury in New South Wales. He needs to buy fertiliser before seeding season begins next month. But the cost of urea has climbed between $300 to $400 a tonne.
I think it was a big shock, really, that these fertiliser prices have continued to rise even when they're already high. We can't handle that kind of cost. You start to think whether it's worthwhile even putting a crop in.
But the bigger problem in some regional areas is a sudden shortage of fuel.
It's just very hard to get hold of it, and its price has really risen quite rapidly.
It's due to a rapid surge in demand from drivers racing to fill up, despite the government saying there's no need to panic buy.
You know, you feel like you're trying to fight with one arm tied behind your back, and it feels like you're battling the world at the moment.
While Australian beef producers face the opposite problem, losing access to lucrative export markets in the Middle East.
So when there's an issue like this and the goods can't get there, it's a matter of, can I redirect the cargo elsewhere? Can I get it to the final destination, or can I return the goods, or is it just going to be a total write-off?
International carriers have slapped massive surcharges on cargo affected by the crisis, and some have started offloading it at other ports.
It's almost like peak hour traffic where things just backlog and it's a wave effect. And that wave travels around the world globally.
Supply chains and energy markets are complex webs. A breakdown at a critical point can have a cascading effect. Since the conflict started, the global price of gas has also increased. If gas prices remain elevated, that could have a flow-on effect to household power bills.
When LNG prices go up, domestic gas prices tend to follow. The price of domestic gas has a disproportionate influence on the wholesale electricity price, which accounts for about 40% of the retail electricity price that householders see on their bills.
Economists say it's too early to tell what all of this will mean for underlying inflation and interest rates.
It's potentially very concerning if the conflict lasts for more than a couple of weeks. And I don't think anybody really knows at this stage how long it's going to last.
It will also depend on how long the vital shipping lane in the Middle East is held hostage and the extent of destruction in places that export energy to the world.
If sustained damage is done, then the effects of that could linger for some time after military hostilities have ceased. Then the consequences for the world and for Australia in terms of both inflation and economic growth could be quite serious.